Greetings Exiles, I'm Gav. It's no secret that Path of Exile 2 has completely shaken up the ARPG genre. Their paid beta test has already peaked at over 578,000 players. Once it goes free to play in 1.0, I expect a lot more. Personally, I've sunk over 800 hours into the game in just the first patch. While the reception has been incredible, there's still a lot of work to do before Path of Exile 2 reaches its full 1.0 potential. Their next major content patch, 0.20 Dawn of the Hunt, is finally releasing on April 4th. Based on all the teasers that we've received over the past month, we have a lot to look forward to, and even more will be revealed in their live stream on March 27th. But one major issue remains, and GGG seems to be doubling and even tripling down on it. That issue is towers. Will towers and the endgame loop be addressed in Dawn of the Hunt? I really hope so. Let's talk about some of the core issues, and towards the end of the video, we'll brainstorm some possible solutions. Tower maps help expand the fog of war and allow us to see more maps within their radius after we complete them. They also act as a means of buffing surrounding maps by placing precursor tablets into completed towers and activating them. The amount of maps that are buffed is based on the number of maps specified on these tablets. The maps chosen once activated are random uncompleted maps within the radius of the tower. These towers have very few mobs in them and they're fairly short to run. The problem is that due to this low monster count and density, you really don't want to use your tier 15 and 16 maps on them, because you're just trying to complete them as quickly as possible, and you're really unlikely to get a return on investment. Towers are similar to sextants or scarabs in PoE1, but they require actual work in order to utilize them. If you had to run a map every time you wanted to use juicing currency in Path of Exile 1, there would be an absolute riot. Towers just feel like an overall interruption to the gameplay loop of mapping and pushing towards citadels. Add to the fact that once you've completed these towers, and you input the precursor tablet you want to use, the maps that it buffs within the tower radius is completely random. The strategy that Giga Juicers are using is to run all of the bad maps and layouts surrounding the tower, and then running the tower so that you can basically deterministically buff the maps that you actually want to run. That's so much extra work and tedium for such a small amount of player agency. Outside of the disjointed feeling of endgame and zoominess compared to the campaign, towers have been a constant negative point of feedback regarding the gameplay loop in the endgame. Despite the community's pleas to remove towers entirely or change them fundamentally, Grinding Gear Games seems to really want to make this system work. On January 16th, patch 0.1.1 was released, bringing with it loads of improvements, bug fixes, minor unique item buffs, and more. Alongside all of this, GGG implemented 4 new tower map layouts and reworked the layout for the Lost Towers map area. Rather than removing them or reworking them, they saw the layout variety as the issue and doubled down on the tower system. The core principle and functionality remained the same, but now we'd have some more variety on the towers that we ran. I'll admit that the layouts they introduced and the rework to the original tower layout are much better. They're shorter and seem to have even less monsters in them overall. But the variety wasn't the issue. Towers still remain an interruption in the endgame loop, and they still aren't worth investing our higher tier maps into. The object was still just to get through them as quickly as possible in order to use your precursor tablet to juice the maps that you actually want to invest into. This change wasn't very well received, and it was concerning for the players that wanted the towers to be simplified or removed entirely. But GGG wasn't done there. On February 25th, via a YouTube reveal for the upcoming 0.2.0 Dawn of the Hunt patch, they announced that towers can now spawn with mechanics, including bosses. Not only that, but precursor tablets slotted into completed towers can now buff other nearby towers. This just exacerbates the already existing issue with towers. They're tedious, there's little to no monsters in them, they're just a chore standing in the way of juicing, and you really don't want to invest into them. You just want to complete them as quickly as possible. Now, even if you're using the degenerate strategy of running unwanted waystone layouts so that they can't be buffed, nearby uncompleted towers can now steal your tablet juice. Add on to that the fact that they'll now take longer to complete, as they'll be spawning with bosses and other mechanics in them. This teaser and content announcement completely missed the mark. Map variety and lack of investment into these towers wasn't the problem or the solution needed. But I don't want this video to be entirely filled with complaints. Let's go over what GGG can do potentially to fix the tower issue. The first and most obvious solution is the complete removal of tower maps. Towers themselves can remain, but when you reach a tower, just allow us to slot in a precursor tablet. Remove the chore of running a map that we don't even want to do in order to juice the content that we do want to run. If they're extremely adamant on keeping tower maps, there needs to be even more value and agency given to the player for completing them. Things such as instead of 1 precursor tablet, allow us to slot in 3 or even 4 per completed tower. Or allow us to run any map within the radius of the completed tower, regardless of us having completed a connected map. This both increases the juicing gained for completing the tower and also provides the player agency of choosing the maps that we want to run within that tower's radius. There are many possible solutions to the tower problem, and I really hope GGG doesn't continue to try forcing this endgame mechanic. I think a lot of us are on board for the complete removal of towers, but I'd like to open up the comments section of this video for discussion. What do you think that grinding gear games should do with towers in patch 0.2.0 and beyond? Do you see towers as a chore, or do you not mind them? And finally, if towers aren't removed entirely, what ideas for removing tedium and increasing player agency do you have? Thanks so much for watching and listening to me rant. I hope with the reveal of Dawn of the Hunt this Thursday, we see GGG moving in a better direction with the endgame loop overall, and actually listening to community feedback. Like the video if you liked it, subscribe for more Path of Exile 2 videos, and I'll see you all in the next one. Farewell, Exiles.